Hey guys, we are starting chapter 9. So today we're going to go over chapter 9, perimeter and circumference of different shapes. You have probably done this before, so hopefully this is just a review to begin this chapter. So we're going to start. First thing, perimeter is the distance around something, whatever it is. It's just the outside of something. So perimeter, I'm just going to write here so you know and can see it, is the distance around something. Okay, so for example, around this rectangle, perimeter would be this distance around that rectangle. Okay. If we look at this square Post-it notes, perimeter, outside edge. So adding all of the outsides up together. Okay. All right, so we're going to do an example. The first example says, okay, it says, find the perimeter. It has a random triangle. It tells us the measures of each side. Okay. So in order to solve this problem, what we would do is we would add up all of our sides. P is the usual symbol to represent perimeter. So we're going to say 9 centimeters plus 12 centimeters plus 11 centimeters. Okay, we don't have to add those centimeters. We just need them at the end. So now we just add 9, 20 plus 12 more is 32. Okay. And the last thing we need to make sure we add is our units, centimeters. So our perimeter of this shape is 32 centimeters. Okay. For perimeter, as long as a shape has straight sides, all you do is add up all of the sides, and that's your perimeter. Doesn't matter if it is a parallelogram, a trapezoid, a rectangle, a triangle, an octagon, right? You do the exact same steps as we did in example 1. All right. Rectangles are unique because they have same sides. So let's talk really quick about the perimeter of a rectangle. Perimeter of a rectangle you can find by doing this, adding up all the sides, or what we notice with our rectangle is that we have 2 sides that are the same and 2 sides that are the same. So if we label this, okay, let's label the other sides too, because they're the same side. So we could do that perimeter equals W plus L plus W plus L. Or you could notice that we have 2 W's plus 2 L's. So this is a special equation for, I'm going to put a circle around it, a box. This is a special equation for perimeter of a rectangle. Okay, so for perimeter of a rectangle, you can do it either way. Both work. All right. So for your example, okay, we have a rectangle. We know it's a rectangle because it tells us that all of these are right angles. Mine didn't look like a rectangle, but now it is because we added right angles to it. Okay. So we also know on this rectangle that if this side's 15, this side is also 15. Whoop. My phone slid down. And if this side's 32, this side is also 32. Okay. All right, so let's solve our rectangle. Let's solve it both ways to make sure they're the same. So on this one, I'm just going to add them all up. Okay. When I add them all up, I get an answer of 94, don't forget your units, meters. Okay. Or we could do 2 times my width plus 2 times my length and solve those problems. So 2 times 15, 30. 2 times 32 is 64. Add them together. Okay. The nice thing about this strategy is this one, I could add them all up. I could use a calculator. The nice one about this one is that if you don't have a calculator, for example, you have a little bit less pieces you have to add or multiply. So our perimeter for this one is 94 meters. All right, the other thing we're going to talk about is what if we have a circle? I have a circle right here. What is the outside of a circle called? Well, it's not perimeter because circles are a little different. This is called circumference. Circumference is the distance around a circle. Okay. Circumference is unique because it uses something, I'll add it in a different color for you. It uses something that looks like this. This is the Greek letter for pi. Okay. It also is approximated to 3.14. Okay. Some of your calculators might have a pi button, and that'll be all the a bunch of decimals of pi. Pi is a interesting number because it actually never ends. Okay. Pi is actually the ratio of the circumference divided by the diameter. So it's some special number that we get when we look at circles. Okay. So if I have a circle, we'll talk about parts of our circle. This whole line here, that is called your diameter. If we go from the line out, that one is going to be called your radius. And circumference of our circle is going to use those two. You could be given either of these. Okay. The equation for circumference equals pi times d, or I'll put a little d right here, diameter, okay, or diameter is equal to 2 radiuses. So we could say circumference equals 2 pi times radius, and we'll put a little r underneath that radius here. Okay, so I'll mark for you d equals diameter, and this r equals a radius. All right. so some examples using circumference. So the directions on these are going to say find the circumference. Okay. So I'm going to be given a circle. My pen is not having it. Okay. All right, this circle, we are given the straight across, which is our diameter. So now with our circumference equations, because we have two, we have to pick one. This is given the straight across, which is the diameter. So that means we're going to use this equation here. Pi d. We know our d is 8 inches because that's our diameter. Okay. So now we could plug this into our calculator. This, remember, is our approximation since we're approximating pi. We're going to use 3.14. In your calculator, you're going to do 3.14 times 8, and that'll give us approximately 25.12. Okay. Remember, we always need to add our units. So we would add inches, because this is inches. All right. Depending on the directions, if this direction said round to the nearest tenth, then remember 10th is only 1 decimal place and we would leave it as 25.1 inches. Okay, that's going to be depending on what the directions tell you. On this one, I didn't give you any directions. This one, we're going to have a radius. So now we're going to have to pick. Do I want this one or do I want this one? Well, it's a radius, so I'm going to use this one. My radius is 14. 2 times pi times 14. We're going to use 3.14 as our approximation for pi. So in your calculator, you can type in 2 times 3.14 times 14. And that'll give us what our circumference is. Okay. I'm going to type it in, see what the decimals are for it. Okay. This one is 87.92. Okay. Add our units, centimeters. If this tells us to round it to, let's see, if it says the 10th on this one, we would do 25.1 inches. Okay. If it says 10th on this one, let's see, I'll add a round. Round to 10th. Okay. We'd look at our 10th. Is the number next to it 5 or above? Nope, it's lower, so we would leave it as 87.9 centimeters. All right, I'm going to flip it over to the other side. Okay, example 4. Example 4 is an application problem. So it says, Lily is drawing plans for a circular fountain. The circumference of the fountain is 63 feet. What is its approximate diameter? Okay, so first thing we're looking at circumference. So I'm going to flip back over first. Let's see. Circular fountain, circumference. We're looking for a diameter. So let's flip back over. We're looking at circumference, and we want the one with diameter. So we're going to use C equals pi d. Okay, so now let's plug in what we know. She is drawing plans for a circular fountain. So we have a circular fountain. The circumference, the outside part, is 63 feet. Okay. And the last part asks us is, what is the diameter? That's the part we don't know. All right. So we can plug into here that we know we need 63 pi, and we're looking for d. Now we have to solve for d. I'm going to replace pi with 3.14. To get this d by itself, we need to do the opposite of this. So this is a multiply by 3.14. So we're going to need to divide by 3.14. So in your calculators, you're going to type in 63 divided by 3.14. Okay, which comes out to 20.06 blah blah blah. So we can approximate this. Let's just round it to 20. So D is approximately 20. We need units, feet. So we could say that if we want to write a sentence, the diameter of the fountain is approximately, or we could say about 20 feet. All right, so there is your first lesson on perimeter and circumference. If you have any questions, please feel free to email myself or Mrs. Lynn, and have a great day.